Good afternoon, dear children.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
We have started new lesson from geography, 5th chapter, industries, right?
Yes.
What we have learned, Lynette, can you give a brief summary of portion what we have learned last class?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Secondary activity is also known as manufacturing. It changes raw materials
Yes.
to finished products of more valuable people. Value people.
Manufacturing change products
More
to, change raw material to
finished
finished
products
products and it add value to the
value to the
products, right?
people. Yeah. Then we studied about industries.
Yes.
It is an economic activity.
Yes.
It is also known as it also include concerned production.
Yes.
For example, iron steel industries,
Yes.
extraction of minerals
Yes.
like coal and petrol,
Yes.
and provision of service
Yes.
like tourism. It also involve money and also buying and selling. Then we studied about classification
Yes.
uh, of industries. It is based on raw materials. First one is agro-based industry.
Yes.
Uh, they make products from raw materials like plants and animals. For example,
Plants and animal based raw materials.
like vegetable oil, cotton, etc. Next, we studied about mineral
Vegetable oil, cotton fabrics or
fabrics.
cotton textile industry is an example of agro-based.
Next, we studied about mineral-based industry.
Yes.
It is also known as primary industry. They use mineral ores.
As raw materials. Mineral ores are the main raw materials in mineral-based industries. Then this raw material we use for making or for creating other resources, right?
Yes.
Only two type of industries we have discussed.
Yes, ma'am.
I hope all of you understood this topic. Classification of industries based on raw material. We have learned two classification based on raw material. First one was agro-based industry. Second one, mineral-based industries, right? Is it clear to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Then next classification of industries based on we have discussed agro-based industry, then mineral-based industry, iron, steel, cement factories are examples of, then marine-based industry. Marine-based industry was the raw material, sea products from sea and oceans as raw material in marine-based industries. Then what are the products that we get from this industry? Seafood, fish oil, these are the products that we get from this industries. Use product from sea and ocean products as the main raw material in marine-based industry. Clear? For the product, we can say example fish oil, seafood are examples of marine-based industry or the products of marine-based industry. Is it clear? Next classification, fourth one, forest-based industry. Forest-based industry. Forest-based industry. Then what will be the main raw material in forest-based industry? Forest as a main raw material, right? What are the products that we get from forest-based industry? Pulp, paper, pharmaceuticals, medicines, furniture, buildings. Forest produce as a main raw material in forest-based industries. Clear? We have completed first type of classification.
Ma'am, can you show the slide of
Classification of
forest?
industries based on raw
Raw
material.
materials.
Classification of industries based on raw material, forest-based industry, agro-based industry, marine-based industry, and mineral-based industry. This classification is based on raw material. Clear? For classification of industries based on raw material. I hope it's clear to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
And what are the two classifications that we learned today?
A marine-based industry and
Marine-based
forest-based
industries
industry.
and forest-based
Forest-based
industry.
industry.
Then, can you explain it? What are the main raw material?
In marine-based industries, they use products from the sea or ocean as raw materials.
Raw material. Okay, good. Then,
For manufacturing, fish oil, etc. and other examples.
yes.
Next one is forest-based industry. Here, the raw materials are forest produce, like furniture, medicines from the
Forest produce as a main raw material, wood timber, right?
yes,
The main
wood
raw
pulp.
material. Then, what are the products?
Pulp, wood, medicines from the nature, furnitures, etc.
Next classification is based on sites. Classification of industries based on sites. Second classification. On the basis of size, industries are classified into two: small-scale industries and large-scale industries. Small-scale industries and large-scale industries. On the basis of size, industries are classified into two. What are they?
Small-scale
Small-scale industries.
Small-scale industries and large-scale
Large-scale
industries. Okay.
industries.
And when you think about the classification on the basis of size, you have to keep 3 points in your mind. First point is amount of capital invested in the industry. Money invested for the industry, for the establishment of industry or factory. Second one, number of people employed. How many people are working? Then volume of production, how much they produce. These are the 3 important points you have to remember connected with classification of industries based on size. What are they? Amount of capital invested, number of people employed, and volume of production. What are they, Adigesh? 3 points you have to remember connected with size.
Ma'am, amount of capital invested,
Yes.
the number of people employed,
Yes.
and the volume of production.
Volume of production. What is the meaning of volume of production? What it means, volume of production? Isha.
Ma'am, if many things are produced.
How much they are producing? How much each industry is producing? How much it is? It's a large quantity, right? Or lesser. Okay. Then small scale industries. What are the features of small scale industry? Before going to small scale industry, we should know what is cottage or household industry. Cottage or household industry is a, these industries are type of small scale industry, but something, some differences are there between small scale industries and cottage industries. Cottage or small, cottage or household industry that operate from home, not from any factory, not from any industry. It operates from home. They are not using any machine. Cottage industry, people are not using any machines or heavy tools. They use very simple tools for manufacturing products. A few number of laborers are working, a few number of workers are there in cottage or household industries. Lesser amount of capital required in cottage industry. Clear? Cottage industry operate from home. They use simple tools. For example, we can say basket weaving, pottery making. These two are toy making. All these are examples of cottage or household industry. Clear? Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
All are busy with writing notes. Then, what are the features of cottage or household industry? Sridev. Sridev?
Cottage or household,
Yes.
we can work from home.
Cottage or household industries work from home. Then
They have lesser technology
they use
and
very
capital
simple, they use simple tools.
tools.
They're not using heavy machines. Use
They
simple
use
tools.
less capital.
Yes. Lesser
For
amount
example,
of capital invested or
for example,
amount of
basket
capital is
weaving and
required.
pottery.
Yes, pottery making, basket weaving, toy making. These are the examples of cottage or household industries. Cottage industry is a part of small scale industry, right? Then what is small scale industry? These points are same, lesser amount of capital and technology used in both small scale and cottage industry, but small scale industry operate from small factories. Small factories. They use lesser amount of capital and technology required for small scale industries. Clear? Lesser amount of capital and technology required for small scale industries. They operate from small factories. They use simple machines. They use simple machines. When we talk about cottage industry, we know only 1 to 15 numbers of workers are there in cottage industries. But when we talk about small scale industry, it may be 100. But for both small scale and cottage industry, for both lesser amount of capital and technology are required. You can say examples like furniture making is an example of small scale industry. Car repairing is an example of small scale industry. Is it clear?
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
We're talking about small scale and the classification of industries based on size. Based on size, industries are classified into two. What are they?
Small scale industries
Small scale industry and large
and
scale.
large scale
Small scale
industries.
industries and large scale industries. Then when we talk about this type of classification of industries based on size, we have to remember 3 points. What are they?
Amount of capital invested.
Amount of capital invested.
Number of people
Number of
employed.
people employed.
Number of people employed.
Volume of production.
Volume of production. Then what are small scale industry?
Small scale industry, they are operated from small factories.
Yes.
more number of people is needed.
Yes.
Simple
They
They use simple machines.
less amount of capital and technology.
Yes, less amount of capital and technology. Cottage and household industries are part of small scale industry, right? When we talk about cottage industry operates from home. They use simple tools.
Few less
Is
number
it
of
clear? Lesser amount of capital. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
The number of laborers also very less in cottage industries compared with small scale industry. In cottage industry, number of workers 1 to 50, but when we talk about small scale industry, it may be 100 or 200 workers will be there, right? This is the difference. Clear? Cottage and small scale industry is clear.
Yes,
ma'am.
But here in your textbook, cottage industry is considered as a part of small scale industry, right? All points together you have to learn. No need to separate cottage industry. Okay, only two type of industry you have learned on based on size, small scale and large scale industries. Okay. Next one, large scale industry. What are the features of large scale industry? Large scale, as the name indicates, it's large, right? Large, they produce in large quantity. Volume of production or products is very high, right? Large. Investment also. High investment. Huge amount of capital is invested. Use high technology. Huge machines are used, or heavy machines are used in large scale industry. Volume of production, large. Produce large volume of production, large quantity. Then investment of capital is higher. They use technology, superior technology. Heavy machines are used in large scale industries for manufacturing. As the name indicates, it's large. Is it clear? Dear children, I'm not getting any response.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then what is large scale industry?
In large scale industry, large volume of production.
Yes.
And investment of capital is higher and the
Yes.
technology is also
Superior.
superior.
Superior technology means huge or heavy machines are used in large scale industries.
They
Example, automobile industry. Automobile, car is an example of automobile, right? Its engine, parts. Then heavy machinery are large scale industries. Other many examples are there. Aircraft industry is an example of large scale industry. Shipbuilding industry is an example of large scale industry. Cement industry is an example of large scale industry. Steel and iron industry is an example of large scale industry. Clear? Automobile is an example of large scale industry, production of automobile, production of cars. It's an example of large scale industry. Other examples, if you want to note down, you can note down. Cement industry, aircraft industry, shipbuilding industry,
steel and iron industry.
Steel and iron industry. All are examples of large scale. All are example of large scale industries. Clear? Classification of industries based on size, it's clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
What is the classification, Vaishnavi, based on size?
Ma'am,
Yes.
small scale industries and large scale industries.
Small scale industries and large scale industries. You understood the difference between small scale and large scale industries?
Yes, ma'am.
Number of workers different, right? Number of people employed is different in both. Then capital investment is different. Volume of production is different, right?
Yes.
In large scale, everything in large quantity, right? Huge machines, They use superior technology. Large number of people are working. Use heavy machines. Produce in large quantity. Right? Just opposite to the small scale industry.
Yes.
That's clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Next classification is based on ownership. Next classification is based on ownership. Then, based on ownership, we have our industries are classified into 4: private sector, public sector, joint sector, and corporate sector. Let's see one by one. Classification of industries based on ownership. First classification, private sector industries. What is private sector industries? Owned and operated by individuals or group of individuals. Some industries are owned and operated by individuals, right? Such type of industries are known as private sector industries. Clear? Example, Tata, Reliance, Infosys, ICICI. All these are examples of private sector industries. Clear, Benedict? Is it clear? Owned and operated by individuals or group of individuals. Example, we can say Tata is a private sector. Reliance is a private sector. Second classification, public sector, just opposite to this one. It's owned and operated by
Government.
Stop writing and listen here first. All of you. Second one, public sector industries. Owned and operated by
Government.
government. Example,
Hindustan.
completely under the control of government. Right?
Yes.
Government companies or government industries. Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. What is this? Aircraft manufacturer in India. Steel Authority of India. Steel producing steel manufacturer in India. All these are examples of public sector industries or owned by or operated by government. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. First classification based on ownership is private sector industries owned and operated by individuals or group of individuals. We can say example Tata, Reliance, Infosys. All these are examples of private sector industries. Public sector industries owned and operated by government. Completely under the control of government. Example Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. Aircraft manufacturing. What are the products of Hindustan Aeronautics?
Aircraft.
Helicopter,
Airplanes.
aircraft. Right, okay. Steel Authority of India.
Steel.
Steel.
Steel. Product.
Product of steel. It's a steel manufacturer in India. Clear? This two classification is clear based on ownership, private and public. Third classification, joint sector. Both public and private together. Owned and operated by government, by the state or government. Government and individuals or group of individuals. Example, Maruti Udyog Limited is an example of joint sector. Maruti Suzuki India, it's officially known as Maruti Udyog Limited. It's a joint sector. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Listen and respond. Then joint sector industries owned and operated by government or individuals or group of individuals, right? Example, Maruti Udyog Limited is an example of joint sector owned by individual and government. Okay. Fourth classification is cooperative sector. Here, this industry is owned by or members are the producers of raw materials or suppliers. Farmers are the members of the sector, cooperative sector, owned and operated by producers and suppliers of raw material. All dairy industry come under cooperative sector. What is the raw material in dairy industry? What's the raw material?
Milk.
Milk. So here producers and suppliers of raw material, milk producers and suppliers of milk. Owned and operated by farmers. Farmers. Owned and operated by producers and suppliers of raw material and workers, or both. Anand Milk Union Limited, what it is? All of you are familiar with this. Anand Milk Union Limited. All of you like all the products of this industry. What it is?
Amul.
Yes? Amul. Then like this, one more industry is Shuddha Dairy. All these are examples of cooperative sector. Then you can add one more example for cooperative sector, IFFCO. An example of cooperative, Indian Farmers Fertilizer Cooperative. Indian Farmers Fertilizer Cooperative. It's an example of cooperative sector. This joint sector example, Maruti Udyog Limited is automobile manufacturer in India. Maruti cars.
And what's the full form of IFFC?
Indian Farmers Fertilizers Cooperative. Indian Farmers Fertilizers Cooperatives. Cooperatives. Four classification is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Classification is clear?
Yes,
Based
ma'am.
on
Yes,
ownership.
ma'am.
Based on ownership, industries are classified into four. What are they? Public sector,
Private sector,
private sector,
joint sector,
joint sector,
cooperative sector.
and cooperative sector. Private sector means owned by individuals, a group of individuals. Public sector owned and operated by government. Joint sector, both private and public, right? By government and by individuals, a group of individuals. Cooperative sector owned by
Producers
or suppliers of raw material, right? I think we have completed classification of industry. Three classifications are there. First classification was based on raw material. Second classification
size.
based on size. Third classification based on ownership. First classification based on raw material, right? Same like as we have done in the first chapter, second chapter, make a flow chart. Clear? Classification of industry, that will help you to remember all the points. Otherwise, in between, you forget it. Okay. Make a flow chart. You have to make a flow chart. Classification of industries, right? Three classifications are there based on, first, based on raw material, right? Then size, ownership, right? Then classification, raw material, on the basis of raw material, we have 4 classifications, right? Agro-based industry,
Industries,
forest-based industry,
mineral-based industry, marine-based industry.
Okay. On the basis of size, we have 2 classifications. What are they?
Small scale and large scale.
Small scale and
Large scale.
large scale. Okay. Then ownership, we have 4 classifications, right? What are they?
Private sector,
public
public sector, joint sector,
and
corporate
joint
sector.
I hope it's clear to all of you.
Yes, ma'am.
The next class, I think we can start our revision. Good afternoon, sir. Revision, I start from the last chapter, agriculture, that we have done last, right? Agriculture. Not full lesson. Title, types of farming, right? 3 economic activities related with agriculture, a new name, arable land, 4 new terms, farm system, and types of farming. Got it? It's the time to wind up the class. Thank you, dear children. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.